What if one day everything just stopped working? No internet, no power, no clean water, no answers. It sounds extreme, but history shows us this kind of collapse has happened before, and it could happen again. Let's go back a bit. Civilization begins when people settle down, farm, build cities, and create systems. Governments, trade, laws. These systems help us live together, solve problems, and grow. But here's the thing. The bigger a civilization gets, the more fragile it becomes. It depends on a lot of moving parts. Food supply, clean water, energy, leaders, trust. When even a few of those break down, the whole thing starts to shake. Collapse doesn't start with fire and explosions. It starts with stress. Maybe crops fail for a few years because of drought. Maybe the gap between rich and poor gets too big. Maybe people stop trusting their leaders. And then something tips it over. A war, a pandemic, a major disaster. Suddenly, the systems we relied on can't keep up. Cities run out of food, governments lose control, people panic, and just like that, yet the collapse is in motion. History gives us plenty of examples. The Roman Empire, once the most powerful civilization on Earth, gone. The Mayans, masters of astronomy and architecture, vanished into the jungle. Even modern ones like the Soviet Union collapsed almost overnight. What does collapse look like for the people living through it? Fear, confusion, empty shelves, blackouts, violence. The rules that held society together start to fade. People turn inward, protecting family, finding food, just surviving. It's not just about buildings falling down, it's about trust breaking. Once trust is gone, everything else follows, but collapse isn't always the end. In fact, it's often the beginning of something new. After every fall, people rebuild. After Rome fell, new kingdoms and cultures rose. After the Black Plague, Europe transformed. Collapse clears the way for change. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. People form tighter communities. They create new systems, new beliefs. Some return to older ways. Others invent completely new paths forward. It's painful, but it's also powerful. Collapse is not just destruction, it's transformation. So why does this matter now? Because some of the signs are here. Climate change, political division, economic instability. No one can say exactly what will happen, but history tells us one thing clearly. Civilizations don't last forever. The real question isn't if something collapses, but how we respond when it does. In every collapse, people faced a choice. Do we fall apart or come together? Do we fight or do we rebuild? The future after collapse isn't written yet. It depends on us. But here's the thing most people miss. Collapse doesn't mean everyone gives up. In fact, it's often the moment when everyday people become heroes. Teachers keep teaching without schools. Neighbors share food when shelves are empty. Strangers protect each other when no one else will. These quiet acts of courage don't make the headlines. But they're the seeds of what comes next. Because the end of a civilization is also the beginning of something new. Not perfect, not easy, but possible. And maybe that's the real story. Not about how things fall apart, but how we choose to rise. If this video made you think for a second, give it a like. It really helps. And if you're into big questions and untold stories, hit subscribe. We're just getting started. Now here's something to think about. If you had to rebuild the world from scratch, what's one thing you'd make sure we do differently this time? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you'd keep, change, or completely throw away. Thanks for watching. Until next time, and stay sharp.